What up? It's Mochelly here, back again with another video for you guys, and it is Short Film Thursday. Well, Short Horror Film Thursday. But I might switch it up a bit. I might react to, little movies, little short movie. Who knows? It doesn't have to be necessary to be horror, but it would be nice to have horror because it's getting closer to Halloween. We might continue it until Halloween. Who knows? They'll probably. And with that being said, we will be react 3 tonight because 2 of them are long and 1 of them is short. 2 of them are from Mr. Nightmare and 1 of them horror short party. So, without further ado, we're going to get into this video and I will be leaking the videos that I react to in the description below, and my Instagram is in the description below. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Please subscribe. Please. But, it's okay if you don't. It's okay if you do. I will support it. I just love my supporters. So, let's get into this video. So, the first video we're going to be reacting to is called True 7/11 Night Shift Horror Story Animation. And this one is by Horror Shorts Party. And let's get started.
This is one of the most terrifying encounters that I've ever experienced. I still get nights just thinking about it. As a matter of fact, the nightmares reoccur so frequently that I see them more often than I see my relatives who live down the street. The dreams took place in what looked like a forbidden realm of darkness, almost like I was in an underground world where the sky was red and my surroundings were engulfed in flames.
Where the hell am I? Is anyone out there?
That's when I see a woman casually approach my direction, except she's spider walking backwards like a scene out of The Exorcist. Her face was distinct. I recognized her in all my other reoccurring nightmares.
I need help. Please help me.
How can I help you?
Help me.
The hell?
I need help. Help me. Help me. Help me. I need help. Why are you just standing there? Help me.
It's just a dream. Just a dream.
You sure?
Everything's gonna be okay. It's been about several months since I had these reoccurring nights. I realized there was always one common denominator, that woman. Her distinct facial features and horrendous screams for help was always something I couldn't forget, nor ignore, as I knew I would inevitably see her again in my sleep. I coincidentally began experiencing these nightmares when I started working my new job as a cashier clerk at a 7-Eleven gas station. I attributed the nightmares to the lack of sleep I accumulated while working there. I unfortunately worked night shifts at the time, as I couldn't really find a job within my field of study. As much as I didn't enjoy working the graveyard shift, we usually didn't garner as many customers as the day shift would. Maybe just the occasional night owls or creeps that would stop by.
Hey kid, can I have $10?
Sir, I'm afraid I can't give you that.
Kid, I need the money so I can get some of that good. I'll share some with you, okay?
Sir, if you aren't going to buy anything, then I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
You smell like the leftover Popeyes that I ate from the dumpster yesterday.
Meeting sus customers always left me feeling uneasy for the latter part of my time working there, but for the most part, the shift was pretty chill. I would always procrastinate by watching my favorite YouTube videos to help pass the time. The 7-Eleven was located in a secluded area near a freeway where most travelers going on a road trip would make a pit stop at. So the majority of our customers were either from out of town or just local residents trying to fill up their gas tank, maybe get a hot cup of coffee on the side. I remember this one particular shift. A vehicle pulled in and parked at one of the gas pumps. I decided to sip on my coffee and hopefully become more attentive for my drowsy state, just in case the customer needed my help. As I was putting my cup of coffee down, I noticed the customer was standing right in front of me without a trace of a sound made.
$30 regular for pump 3, please.
I honestly thought I was seeing things, as the woman looked so familiar to the point where I completely disregarded her question. I'm sorry, do I know you from somewhere?
No, not that I know of.
I feel like I know you from somewhere. You look really familiar.
Sorry, I think you might have the wrong girl, sir.
But I think we met each other from somewhere. I just know it. Are you sure we didn't go to school together?
No, we didn't. I really have to get to work now.
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. It's been a long night. $30 for pump 3 it is. The woman then slid $30 towards me and began walking towards her vehicle. That's when I put 2 and 2 together. I recognized the woman as she looked like a potential culprit for the sadistic nightmares I've been having. As the woman began
She been in your
pumping gas
nightmare.
outside, I could see she was making direct eye contact with me. Probably because my brief interrogation made her feel a little uncomfortable.
Probably.
I decided to lock eyes with her as I wanted to observe more of the woman's mannerisms.
Why?
In hopes that I could potentially pick up any
It's late at
significant
night,
ties
you
to her
watching this
physical
lady?
appearance in relation to my reoccurring nightmare. Face, her eyes, that has to be her. I just know it. The woman eventually got inside her vehicle and drove off as I stood there completely flabbergasted till my shift was over. The next evening, I recall getting ready for another shift as I personally like taking hot showers beforehand.
Me too.
I remember taking the late night bus to work while casually glancing at the window, pondering if I was ever going to encounter that woman. The ride to work took approximately 30 minutes, so taking a power nap was completely justified. I would always find myself seated at the back of the bus as I personally liked napping without having the awkward feeling of being watched. I remember closing my eyes and slowly lulling myself into a deep sleep, hoping to make up for all the tireless mileage of work I had been through during that week. As I began to slowly drift off, I recall opening my eyes and still being inside the bus, except everything was in an alternate red world. I can see all the passengers looking at me, except they all looked expired, like they'd been rotting on the bus for months.
Hey, bus driver, can you stop the bus?
This bus doesn't make any stops.
Oh,
This
Lord.
is just a one-way detour, kid.
Bus driver, I need to get off now!
That's when I saw her, sitting near the front of the bus, glancing at me while repeating the words,
Help me! Help me! Help me!
Bruh.
"Sir, I'm going to respectfully ask you to exit the bus, please."
Bruh.
As I departed the bus, I remember walking an extra 10 minutes to work as the bus driver abruptly dropped me off due to my impromptu disturbance. I eventually made my way inside the 7-Eleven and began my shift, making my usual cup of coffee. That's when I see a familiar vehicle pull into one of the gas pumps and put itself in park. God, it's gotta be her. The same exact woman that I encountered the last time got out of her vehicle and began entering the gas station. I began to stroll on my cell phone without making it seem like I was intrigued by her appearance while she casually approached the front counter and said,
$30 regular for pump 3, please.
"Ma'am, do I know you?"
No. Did you ask me that last time?
"Yeah, but I'm sorry. It's just, I feel like I've seen you in my dreams before."
That's not creepy.
Sorry, kid, but I'm unfortunately taken.
"No, I wasn't trying to get at your... My apologies, ma'am. $30 for pump 3 it is." The woman then leaves the cash on the counter and begins to head outside to pump gas into her vehicle. As I nosily glance at the woman, I see the same homeless creep from the other night approach her. He honestly looked like he was on something from the way his eyes were bloodshot and twitchy. I assumed he was going to harass her for change like how he does with most of the customers that come by during these hours. But what happened next, I never saw coming. The man yanked the gas pump from out of the woman's vehicle and sprayed her with gasoline while she yelled out in agony from the toxic fluid seeping into her skin and eyeballs. I quickly called for law enforcement while running towards the aid of the woman. But I stopped dead in my tracks as the homeless man lit the woman on fire.
I need help! I need help! Why are you just standing there? Help me! Help me!
It's like, did he, like, it's crazy though, because, like, did he just had a, like, he had, like, a vision that she was gonna die, and he had no idea what was going on. That is crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right, so let's get into the next video. And this video is basically from Mr. Nightmares. It is 3 disturbing children's drawings with background stories part 2. So we're gonna start this video. Let's get into it.
This is a part 2 to my video,
that was
Children's
part two.
Drawings with Disturbing Backstories. If you haven't seen the first one, the link is in the description. The drawings you're about to see were all done by kids. Whether they appear innocent or not on the surface, the stories behind them are what really make them unsettling. This ordinary looking drawing made by a 6-year-old doesn't appear to have anything that would be any kind of cause for alarm. On the surface, it just looks like a young kid playing in the front of their house. There's tons of smaller details in the drawing, such as his dad raking the leaves, his mom at the window, and a few cars in the street passing by. It all seems like an innocent drawing, but there's a bit of an unsettling backstory behind this. The 6-year-old boy who drew this is a very well-behaved and quiet kid according to his parent. I'll refer to him as Jake. He stays to himself most of the time, and his teachers describe him as a well-behaved child. Just very, very quiet. He has a passion for drawing, and constantly draws pictures and writes little story picture books. Jake has one sibling who's currently 2 years old, who he has included in multiple pictures too. His mother says most of Jake's free time he spends either watching Cartoon Network or YouTube videos or drawing. There was no cause for alarm when his parents found this first picture. However, there was when they found a more recent picture that Jake had drawn. Here's another picture of Jake in front of the house, but maybe you've already spotted it. In this picture, there's an identical car in the street with the same person sitting inside. This time, it seems Jake is looking at the car in this picture waving. Jake's parents are not seen in this one, interestingly. But his parents were intrigued now about the car and who the person inside of it was supposed to be, so they questioned him. Jake explained that it was a car he'd always see out front and that the man sitting inside of it would always smile and wave whenever he saw him. So the next day, Jake's parents took him outside to point out the car, but he said the car wasn't there. In fact, it wasn't for the next few days, until finally, one day while Jake was playing outside, he came running inside to his parents to say he saw the car again, and the man was inside again. Jake's parents rushed outside to the front to look, and saw the car speeding away past the house down the block. It was an old silver Buick, and Jake confirmed that was the car. It was none of the neighbors' cars, that much was known. Jake's parents went to all the neighbors and asked if they'd seen that car sitting in the street at all, to which all of them replied they had not, that they'd keep a lookout. Few days. Jake wasn't allowed to play outside unless his parents were there with him, but after the car didn't seem to return, Jake was once again allowed to play freely out front. But one day, he came inside and said that the man in the car was back and was trying to get him into his car. Of course, Jake's father ran outside as fast as he could, hoping to get to the car in time, but he saw it already down the block by the time he was outside. He tried chasing the car down in his car, but by the time he even got into his car, there was no way of tracking where the car went. Once again, Jake wasn't allowed outside of the house. The car wasn't seen outside at all for almost that entire week, until one night, unexpectedly, Jake's father was about to take the garbage out when he noticed the car parked across the street. He took out his phone to begin recording and hopefully get the license plate number, and he tried to slowly get closer to the car without being obvious. But the driver clearly saw him, because the car turned on, then quickly drove away.
That's a New York plate.
Jake's father tried to follow the car and get the plate number, but he couldn't. This was the last time the car was ever seen. The car had clearly been parked outside multiple times watching the house, even past dark at later hours in the night. The driver of the car, according to Jake, would always smile and wave at him anytime they'd make eye contact with each other. And the last time Jake saw the car, the man inside started waving for him to come over, and even called out for him. Luckily, Jake was smart enough to go inside and tell his parents. It's not clear why the car would be outside even at night, considering the boy leaving the house alone at those hours would be extremely unlikely. Jake's parents brought the video to the police. Without a clear plate number, not much could be done. Jake's father went door to door asking each house on the block if they had cameras that caught the plate number, but he didn't have any good luck. Car never returned after this. But this happened relatively recently in November of 2021, so there's always a possibility that the man may return.
2021. See, that's why kids don't go outside.
The drawing you're about to see was done by a 7-year-old. The picture itself is disturbing, but the backstory behind it is surprising.
I don't even make stick
To start,
figures
the
no
boy's
more.
father, Jeremy, sent the story and picture in. Jeremy has 3 sons. Jeremy's
Got
mother,
3
Claire,
legs.
sleeps over a lot to spend time with her grandkid. In Jeremy's word, his mother has always been on the stricter side, and that includes with her grandkid, but he says that's because she was raised in a stricter household. Jeremy's 7-year-old Tom is considered to be the troublemaker, who acts out against his parents and grandparents the most. So because of this, it often leads to his grandmother Claire scolding him. One day while Jeremy and his wife were out of the house and Claire was watching the kids, something happened between the two of them. Tom had hit his little brother for taking the last of the ice cream bars in the freezer, causing him to cry. This is commonplace behavior with Tom apparently, as he's very violent with his siblings as well. In response to Tom's behavior and hitting his little brother, his grandma Claire smacked him and forced him to stay in his room for the remainder of the day. Claire told her son that Tom was throwing a fit in his room, throwing things at the walls and on the floor in anger. Eventually he quieted down, and upon trying to leave his room, Claire once again had to get physical with him to get him to listen. It was likely during this time that Tom drew the picture you're about.
Hold on, quick. I can't hear. If it's the head, well, I just can't hear.
About to see. When Jeremy and his wife returned home, they got an
No, with the ads. Sorry.
earful from Claire about Tom, very angry and distressed. Jeremy and his wife entered Tom's room angrily, ready to scold and punish him. When they opened the door, they were surprised to see Tom with a smile on his face, looking up at his parents. Around him on the floor was his Crayola art supply backpack with various pictures on the floor, along with crayons and colored pencils laying everywhere on the floor. There was one drawing that stood out from the other crumpled up drawings, which Tom handed to his parents, and that was this. The drawing shows what appears to be Tom sawing off his grandma's head, as she already appears to be hanging. To add to the horrific scene, Tom as well as his parents are wearing smiles on their faces as Tom is doing what he's doing. And of course, if there was any shred of doubt as to who these figures were supposed to be, Tom labeled himself, his grandma, and his parents in the picture.
I don't know what she
Jeremy and his wife were
behind closed
disturbed
doors
after finding this picture,
to them babies.
as it showed just how messed up their child may be mentally. Jeremy grounded Tom after finding this, but the couple did not show this drawing to Claire. Nothing good would come of showing her the horrific drawing her own grandson made. However, it didn't end there. The next day, when Tom was allowed out of his room to eat breakfast, he told his grandmother at the kitchen table that he hates her and that he's gonna kill her. Claire's reaction was one more of shock than anger. Jeremy once again sent Tom to his room. The way in which Tom said what he said was described to be with a hateful smile on his face, as if he were taking pleasure from saying it. Claire left to go home that day, and from the time Jeremy sent me this, she hasn't returned to the house. Tom's behavior has apparently always been on the more concerning, violent side, especially for a child his age. However, this drawing and behavior towards his grandmother convinced Jeremy and his wife to start bringing Tom to therapy.
At the end of the day, we don't even know what this grandmother was doing when the parents wasn't home. So we don't know the backstory of why this child got so very vindictive to not want to be around his grandmother no more. Like, how can you hate your grandmother so much? Like, she may cook maybe. Who knows? But still, like, you can't hate your grandmother that much. Like, and he a little boy, like, for him to have that thought already, yeah.
The first
That's
few meetings,
crazy.
Tom refused to speak, but eventually started opening up more when his parents would leave the room. Their therapist says that Tom talks about wanting to hurt his brothers for the things they do, and hating his grandmother and second grade teacher. All I can assume they can do at this point is take it day by day with their son.
Dang, he hated his second grade teacher too?
This last one was a bit different in that the kid is a little older than the others, and some of the drawings were done on a computer. The child who drew the pictures you'll see shortly was 13 years old at the time. The drawings were found and submitted by his older brother Cody. The little brother's name was revealed in some of the images, but I'll blur them out and refer to him as John. John is described as a recluse by his brother, who gets picked on by some of his classmates. Though he found these pictures a year ago, he submitted them recently, and now the two boys are in high school, with Cody being a senior and John being a freshman. John and Cody share the same gym period, and Cody sees his little brother get slightly picked on in gym class whenever he's in earshot. Cody says that although he's tried to help his little brother break out of his shell, he's come to accept that the two of them are just different. John likes to go home after school and play computer games all day instead of doing his homework or hanging out with friends. This is exactly how he spends his weekends too, and while his brother and parents worry about him, they're not really sure what they can do to help him. His teachers are all concerned over his consistent lack of effort and poor grades, and they even go as far as to ask if everything is okay at home due to his extremely quiet nature. One day while John was out with his mom somewhere, Cody, being curious about John, decided to snoop through his notebook and see if his brother even took any notes in class. But instead of normal notes, there were just really weird doodles and drawings littering the pages. If there were ever any notes taken, they would be covered by stick figures apparently fighting or shooting each other with bow and arrows or guns. There were also apparently other unusual drawings, usually violent, all of which Cody took pictures of. Now, being curious what John did on his laptop 24/7, Cody decided to take his laptop and sign into it after figuring out his password against his brother's knowledge. His desktop was packed to the max with game icons and folders. But the first place that Cody went to snoop was the pictures folder, and inside of there, he found multiple folders containing weird cartoons drawn on MS Paint by John. They were for a YouTube channel that John had made, in which he animated very simplistic graphic cartoons, but the most disturbing and eye-catching one was this one. It started with a picture of a school, then it cuts to inside a classroom, presumably John's classroom. The plot of this cartoon video is basically that John had been missing from school, and when his teacher asked the class where he's been, John suddenly arrives with a shotgun in hand and a combat helmet. This is where he threatens to kill all his classmates and then the teacher if he can't answer his questions correctly. The name Mr. Reynolds is used in one of the pictures, which was in fact one of John's actual school teachers' names, meaning John drew these pictures based on his own life. I know these are just stick figure pictures, but knowing how YouTube is with demonetizing or age-limiting videos, I'm not going to show the rest of the pictures. But basically, John ends up shooting everybody in the room, and by the end of his video in the last drawing, John's character smiles and says, "On to the next classroom." It may be a very disturbing hint into what's going on in John's head, and what may be going on in a lot of kids' heads in school who may keep to themselves or feel that they're being picked on. Cody never told his parents about the videos or pictures, but rather confronted his brother on them. Out of embarrassment most likely, John deleted his YouTube channel and got extremely angry at Cody, but he never ratted him out to his parents for going on his laptop, because he knew Cody saw some bad things on there. Cody had a talk with his brother, asking if he ever had thoughts of doing what his drawing did in his video, and he said absolutely not. It was just for YouTube views. A year has passed since then, and Cody says he's tried to help his little brother, who continues to act differently from his peers, and he contemplates going to his parents about the things he's found on John's laptop. In a situation like this, it would definitely be best to inform authority figures, as in this circumstance, given John already gets picked on and keeps to himself most of the time, the images he drew may be indicative of something he fantasizes about doing in real life.
Nah, bro. That kid was probably thinking about doing that. Who knows? But we don't know what goes on to the kid's head nowadays. But especially when it comes to school and a kid is thinking about doing that in school, sometimes you have to question how the children in school treat it, like the child, and the teachers. How do the teachers treat the child? Like, we all don't know. Like, he could have just said, no, I never had that thoughts, to basically get him off the thing. He was just doing it for YouTube. But it's not really a funny thing, it's not cool to do stuff like that, especially as a child, because you're like, yo, what is this child watching on social media, or what is really going on in his head? And then being that he interacts weirdly and differently and stuff like that, there's nothing wrong with that. It's still like, what's going on in this kid's head, bruh? Like, you gotta watch him. But alright, so the last video I'm going to react to is actually a video that was requested from one of my friends, and I will be reacting to it right now. This one is called Scary Videos Caught on Ring Cameras, and this one is volume 3, and this one is another Mr. Nightmare's video. So again, I will be linking all of the videos that I am reacting to in the description below and anything. Let's get into this video.
This is a part 3 to the scariest things caught on doorbell cameras. And once again, by the end of the video, you may consider getting one yourself. In this footage that a viewer sent me, a person can be seen crouch walking towards his front door through his doorbell camera. The person was wearing a hat, face mask, and sunglasses, allowing none of his face to be seen.
Bro, we already see you.
After trying to open the front door and failing, the person starts to fiddle with the doorbell, noticing it's a video doorbell, so he probably tries to take it off.
It's done is on the person's phone. It's funny too, because I have one.
What likely happened was that when he realized that he couldn't get the doorbell unmounted without a special screwdriver, he started to hold his hand in front of the camera after ringing the bell. The viewer told me that this happened at 2 in the morning, and so when he heard his doorbell and ring notification go off, he instantly went to his phone to check who was at the door, only to see exactly what you're seeing. The man then walks past the doorbell to the side of the house, and by this point, the homeowner was on the phone with 911 reporting the incident. While on the phone with 911, the homeowner heard the doorknob to the side entrance door being fiddled with, and this was a door that he had been known to leave unlocked accidentally from time to time.
Bruh.
However, luckily on this night, that wasn't the case. Since the intruder couldn't simply walk in through either door, he started to say hello repeatedly through the door, in an off-putting tone that sounded so overly friendly that it was creepy. The 911 operator told the homeowner not to open the door or to even acknowledge the person. The person would then start to bang on the door for a few moments until seemingly giving up. The police showed up but couldn't help out much based on the video. Later that night, the homeowner received another notification that there was movement at his front door. When he checked the video feed, he couldn't see anyone. He He still has no idea who was under that mask and glasses. This following footage was also captured by a viewer's doorbell camera at their old house, which is still active while he tries to sell it. One morning at around 4:30 a.m., his cameras detected a man running from across the street from his neighbor's home, across his front yard, and up to his front door. The man was naked, with one of his hands blocking his privates.
Did he get robbed?
The footage was caught from two angles. He was arrested a short while later by local police, and was apparently high on crystal meth, and he had removed his clothing due to a fear of snakes being inside of his clothes, and he was running around the neighborhood knocking on doors and ringing doorbells yelling for help. The neighborhood is reportedly pretty quiet. The homeowner never had any sort of issues before this. In his words, he ran up my front yard onto my front porch and rang the doorbell. For the next minute or so, he was ringing the doorbell and knocking while pacing back and forth. He looked panicked, and his expression drifted from someone in pain to a look of pure crazy, and at one point said he needs help. After that, he ran off back into the night. The guy was picked up by an officer around 5 a.m. not far from his house.
Oh. Okay.
And this footage is why you always check who's at your door before you open it, especially if you have a doorbell camera.
Man.
If someone who you don't know shows up to your door late at night, don't open it. Unfortunately, in this video, that's exactly what this homeowner did. Around 10 p.m. one night, a suspicious-looking hooded man approaches the front door of a random house rather quickly and aggressively, and he right away tries to open the door. After realizing it's locked, he goes to ring the doorbell. Disappointingly, the homeowner
Why the heck would you open the door at 10 something at night with somebody wearing a hood? You have a ring camera? You mean to tell? I'm just gonna open the door for anybody. He
opens the door rather quickly instead of checking who's at his door at this hour first.
Well, it got his face. He looked drunk. Looked like he owned something.
Hello. Hi.
And they just welcome himself in?
Good. You need to leave. Out there. What? What's the... Come on, where are you going? What's the staring?
Bro, you let him in. Like...
Goodbye, you.
Why would you? I know you a male, but man, why would you open the door?
Which put him in danger. Even his initial hi to the stranger at his door sounded overly friendly, considering the man was already creeping in the second the door was open.
Right.
The homeowner pushes the man out, causing him to punch the glass of the door before it's even fully closed.
But here's the thing, why would you open the door in the first place?
The man then stands there for another minute or so, fiddling with the doorknob a few times, though the rest of the footage is cut off. The dialogue is near impossible to completely make out, but it seemed the man was under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
He looked like
likely
he is
attempting
under
to
the
burglarize the
influence.
home. The homeowner called the police, but the man was gone by the time they arrived. It's unknown if he was found.
You should never open the door in the first place. Oh God.
This image was posted from the owner of a Ring camera in a Facebook group to caution others. The woman warned in her post to beware a strange man wearing a white mask lurking around the neighborhood after her camera caught him trying to look into her home a little after 10 p.m. one night. The woman said, "I just want my neighbors to be aware and safe. Please, if possible, share this post. Screenshots are welcome." Not sure what colors he was wearing, but had a hoodie and jeans on. The disturbing picture shows the man in the mask looking directly into the camera. This is exactly the type of image that you'd never want or expect to see come up on your doorbell camera footage, but it's also the kind of image that would make you sure as hell grateful that you had one. Neighbors of the woman also reported seeing the man walking around and approached their front doors. Thankfully, no one opened the door to him. On May 1st, 2020, around 9:40 p.m., around the beginning of the COVID lockdown, a 45-year-old dad, Raymond Hawkins, opened the door to who he believed to be a delivery driver dropping off a parcel. Due to new methods of delivery at the time because of COVID, the alleged delivery driver backed away from the front door to supposedly keep his distance and claimed he needed to take a picture of the package at the doorstep, something many delivery drivers must do for more expensive packages. At this time, the father had his guard down due to the fact that he had no idea the man in front of him wasn't a delivery driver, and that he was in fact part of a gang that was about to storm into his house, all of whom armed with knives.
The screams, bruh. Who Like, people not question. Do people not question themselves? Like, it's late at night. What time does it say it was? It's late at night. Then he just called, like, he just put one of his friends' name out. It's like, what is it, 21? What's 21 military time? It's like 9 something at night. They stopped delivering around, well, it does say until like 10 p.m. But mostly likely, most deliveries stop delivering stuff around 9. And not 9, 8. And they don't be out like that much after dark. And most likely they would take pictures of it at the front door. You don't need to come to the door. I know he looks like he's dressed in the delivery. I don't trust that, especially at night. Just drop the package off or put it, take it with you and I'll go pick it up somewhere else, Yeah, I don't think people, and then you stand there and wait until he takes the picture. If he has to take the picture, you don't need to come to the door. You don't need to sign anything. Yes, never put your guard down. Never let your guard down. Never let
Christopher Sargent, the fake delivery driver, lunges at Raymond with a knife and attacks him when he goes to pick up the package, while 3 other masked men follow from behind. Muffled cries come from the house, as there's a struggle between Raymond, his wife, and the robbers. The robbers are only in the house for a few moments before being seen fleeing the house with thousands of dollars worth of items. Raymond and his son suffered non-life-threatening injuries, while his sons were described to be worse. 2 of the culprits would be arrested, Anthony Lascelles and Christopher Sargent, who were both charged with aggravated burglary and possession of a knife. The other 2 culprits were never found. One thing that can be learned from a lot of these videos is that some people will go to crazy lengths to trick other people. The major red flag in this case was that the supposed delivery was taking place at 9:40 p.m., which is way past the time any notable delivery company will deliver packages, usually the latest being 7 p.m. On April 10th, 2020, this was the footage taken by the Ring doorbell of a viewer's friend Kayla in a small California town. Kayla was being stalked by her crazy former friend Thomas, who became obsessed with her over time and would constantly express his alleged love for her, despite her telling him numerous times that she didn't feel the same way. The week that this footage was taken,
I'm trying to do a video, baby girl. Lay down. I'm almost done. It's the last video, okay? Let me finish, alright?
Kayla was bombarded with texts and voicemails from Thomas. And as you can see, if you care to pause the video and read some of the texts.
And I'm sorry this upset you, and I genuinely hope you have good days no matter what. Okay, I'm glad to see yourself again. I'm glad you're okay too. That was scary, and I thought I lost you as a friend. It's okay. It wasn't the worst. I want to still help you in any way I can. Thanks for apologizing, and I know it was genuine.
Text. It starts with what seems to be Kayla accepting his apology for his behavior.
We can talk more later, maybe tomorrow, if that's okay. If it's okay. I told Megan about this because I need comfort from her. We will be here for you if you need our help and to talk.
However, as the texts and voicemails just keep coming in, she begins.
And I hope you can understand that I'm a bit nervous to be alone with you after that. Was a bit much for me. Yeah.
To realize how crazy he may be. What you're about to
please. I'm glad.
Here are some audio clips from different voicemails.
Of course, you need space. I'm happy for you to take it for a while. Please go and recover and think and dance and all. What? I want you to take all the time you need. I didn't do this for any other reason than to leave or be left, no matter what, if that's what it takes. You're safe. Be safe. You're always safe, and all of us are making sure about that. Think about this. Don't be alarmed. It was only a test, as they say.
He left on her phone after she had stopped answering him.
Hey, Kayla. Listen, I want to make sure you're not too worried about what happened at the party last.
Okay, we'll go back and listen to that. I'm accepting this role as the bad boy, and I'm not sorry. Nothing excuses my behavior, because my behavior is what I choose to act as. It's a pirate's life out here. You're asking why? I explained why. I did this with intentions, not insanity, and not raging homes, but because
I had an amazing time, and I think God, I think you're goddamn beautiful. And I'm sorry I got so sick. I wanted to come be with you while you were getting ready, and I was just so totally out of it, and I'm sorry. God, I think I might love you, and I'm sorry, and I'm gonna give you some space, and I want to be there for you, and be there for you, and I can't get you out of my fucking
You're my
head, and I
queen
want to be
now.
there for you. God damn it. So fucking god damn it. And all I can do is think of you and want to be with you, and I want to be with you. I want to be your Flynn Rider, and I want to be everything to you. God damn it, babe. You're fucking amazing. You are amazing. You're my knight in shining armor, and I'm so fucking terrified of you. And God, I love you so much. So much. Please call me back. No, I lied. I'm not gonna give you some space. I'm sorry. I'm coming over. I know you're up and thinking about me. I'm sorry. I'm fucking God. I'm not sorry. God, I'm coming over. Fucking, I'm already driving. I've been driving the whole time. God damn it. I'm coming over. Fucking, I'm not gonna give you space. I know you called me back. I saw that. Yep. I know you're up thinking about me. God damn it. Oh, God damn it. I'm coming over. One way or another, I'm coming over. Fucking whatever, however, whatever. God, I'm coming over. I'll see ya. I'll be there in like 10 minutes or whatever. I'm in whatever. I'm coming over right now. Damn it. I'll see ya. Bye. I love you. Rough road. Oh, it's a rough road. Fuck you, Kayla. I am fucking crazy. God damn it. Fuck you. I'll drive into the field. God damn it. Things like that, huh? Fuck you. Fuck you, Kayla. I am goddamn crazy. I'm crazy for you. God damn it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it for you. I am crazy. Oh, don't give me a cop. Don't give me a cop. We just don't know.
Hey, this is more than a Ring camera.
All right. I'll settle. Anything for you, my queen. Anything for you. I'll settle. I'm going slow. My phone is dying anyway. I'm still going to drive by your house in the middle of the night, though. And I dare you not to have your blinds open to check. I'm crazy. Maybe you'll never know if I did it. I'll do it.
The footage of him showing up to Kayla's house was right after one of his phone calls saying he's coming over, even though it was clear by this point she wanted nothing to do with him. Eventually, Kayla and her friend Ravon would find out that Thomas wasn't even his real name. His real name is Matthew. He'd been using the fake name Thomas Castle, which was a reference to the Marvel character The Punisher. Thomas was a reference to Thomas Jane, the second actor to play The Punisher, and Castle was a reference to Frank Castle, the Punisher's last name. The fact alone that he had been using a fake name with his friend and supposed love of his life is already a huge red flag, and maybe a sign that he was hiding something in his life.
Is a red
The ring
flag.
footage was taken at 2 in the morning, and after leaving, he would go on to send some more texts, which would progressively get angrier. 4 days.
You're right. This behavior just isn't me. I'm sorry. I've been here for when you want to be a bit. You know what?
After this footage was taken, Kayla and her friend went to the police and filed for a restraining order. He left her alone about a month or so after the restraining order was put into place. Kayla blocked his number and blocked him on social media, and reportedly he basically disappeared from the world, and no one knows where he is now.
Man, it's kind of not really horror night, but it's kind of disturbing night, cause like, all right, that is the end of this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below what you think of these videos, and comment down below what other videos you want me to watch. We're gonna continue doing this for Thursday, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Mochelly is out of here.